It's time for 25 new shortcuts. I've finally been able to create a shortcut that summarizes a YouTube video. Quickly create a new reminder when you're looking at your email. Identify any movie or show and then find out where to stream it. Clean up your camera roll from the last 10 years. Summarize anything from school, whether it's a PowerPoint, lecture voice recording, or even a video file. Some budgeting shortcuts, how to talk to Gemini, and a ton more. Let's get into it. For a long time, you've been asking for shortcuts that can summarize YouTube videos, and I finally did it. Now I have two versions, one that uses an API and one that doesn't. You can run it from the share sheet right here on YouTube. I'll tap the share button here, swipe over to more, and then swipe down to run the shortcut Summarize YouTube Video API. It's actually going to get the transcript of the video, send it to Apple Intelligence to summarize and get key points, and then create an Apple note. Title of the video is the title of the note, you have the channel name, link back to the video, summary, some key points, and even the thumbnail gets attached. That version works really fast, and the API is free up to 100 requests. This is using transcriptapi.com. You can sign up for a free account, use it on 100 videos, and if you find it worthwhile, it's pretty inexpensive, $5 a month for 1,000 credits. And then when you download my shortcut, which links to all the shortcuts I'm talking about are in the video description, just put the API you get right here in this text box. Now I did create another version that does not need an API and you can run right out of the box. It's much slower and a little less reliable, so I'm going to run this one that doesn't require the API. Go down in the share sheet and just choose the Summarize YouTube Video to Notes. This one is going to take much longer because it's actually trying to load the transcript on a third-party website and then pull that data via the raw HTML. And after about a couple minutes, and you could have done other things on your phone while it ran in the background, title is still the note title, you get the video link, channel name and date, the thumbnail, and you still get a summary right here and even the full transcript underneath. So you can download those two shortcuts in the description, and if you want to use the one with the API, I'll put a link to that website below as well. Next, this was a request from the community, and it's if you're looking at an email, this can quickly take a screenshot and create a reminder based on the content of the email. So let's say you're looking at an email from a coworker or whoever. I run this shortcut from the control center, but you can put this on the action button or a back tap. It's called my reminder from email. And if you run it from Control Center, it's automatically going to dismiss Control Center before it takes the screenshot, which is nice. And then it's going to create a reminder. Apple Intelligence through ChatGPT is going to create a title for it. It's going to include the from email address and a little summary of the email. It's also going to set a reminder automatically for 3 p.m. today. This way you can go back and check on some of the emails you need to catch up on. It's also going to attach the screenshot it took to that reminder. And the nice thing about screenshots through shortcuts is it's not going to save it to your camera roll. So if I go to my photo library, you'll see that screenshot's not there. Next, in a recent Instagram reel, which you can follow me there at Steven Robles, I showed that Amazon actually lets you search via image, but it's a couple taps to get there. But this one action shortcut lets you jump directly to Amazon Lens Search. From here, you can put an object in frame or just choose an image from your camera roll, and Amazon's gonna show you that item right here. And you can also go to the upload picture section, choose a photo here, like on my new Stream Deck. Amazon will recognize the device and show you the search results right here. Next, I've been perfecting my what movie or show shortcut, and I have two great versions for you here. One is based on the movie database and will add movies or shows to an Apple Note. You can either take a screenshot, which will dismiss the control center so you can run it from there, or you can choose from your photos. I'll choose a photo that I saved of a screen grab, maybe I saw it on social media, and it's gonna send that image to ChatGPT to try and recognize the movie or show. ChatGPT is gonna tell you what movie it thinks it is with a percentage accuracy. It is The Truman Show, so I'll tap that. Then it's gonna show you results from the movie database. Again, it's The Truman Show, so I'll select that top one. And now it's going to get the information of that movie and also get you options to stream that movie. You'll see all the streaming service options here, choose the one you want, and then it's going to create that Apple Note with all the information and even the movie poster, and it's going to append it to a note called Movies from Social. If you don't have this note already created, the shortcut will create it for you, but not duplicate it if it already exists. Now I have a link directly to stream it, I have the movie poster right here, and I can tap that link and it's going to open the show directly in the app of my choice. So this time I'm on social media and I'm actually going to take a screenshot. I'll run the same shortcut from Control Center, take a screenshot, and it's going to get that frame, whatever I'm looking at on screen, send that through ChatGPT, and it did recognize the show correctly. I can choose the show from that menu. It's going to show me the movie database information, including where to stream it. It'll give me the links to stream, and then once I tap one of those streaming services, it's going to append it to the note. There it has the link, the title, and even the show poster. But I have another version of that shortcut that actually opens the movie or show in Callsheet. I use Callsheet all the time to look at movies and TV show information, and here you can choose a photo from your camera roll or do a screenshot just like I did from the Control Center. It's also going to identify the movie. It's going to give you an option here and then from the movie database, and then it's going to open it that quickly in the Callsheet app. From Callsheet, you can see a bunch of information like where to watch it. And then you can see the where to watch destinations. There's Easter eggs like tapping the runtime will tell you when the movie ends if you start watching it right now. Plus you have all the cast and crew information here. Runs a little faster than the movie database version, and it works both for movies or TV shows. I'll give it another photo. I'll get options with how sure ChatGPT is it's actually that show or movie. I get a little synopsis, air date, and even where it aired. Choose the right version, and then it opens it up in the Callsheet app. Link to the Callsheet app is below and those 2 shortcuts in the description. Now I did a whole video on my screen time wrapped, and like I mentioned there, unfortunately screen time only saves your last 30 days of information, but I did make a version that does not use Apple Intelligence or ChatGPT. So you can run this one, screen time wrapped and no AI on any device, even older iPhones, and it will still create an image with your last 30 days of screen time times 12. So this is an estimation of your screen time over the last year. But if you want to keep an accurate track of your screen time for 2026, I'll put a link to this shortcut, which is log last month's screen time. You can set that up in an automation, and I explained more in my dedicated screen time wrapped video. You can watch it above. I'll put that link below as well. By the way, if you love shortcuts and have enjoyed the ones I've shared in this video, I would love if you join my shortcuts community, shortcut.bot. There's literally thousands of other people building and asking for help for shortcuts. Right now, over 3,000 have joined for free, but you can support the community and myself in this channel, and then you get access to my weekly live streams. I stream every Wednesday at noon with brand new shortcuts. You can watch all those stream replays down here, and I link all the new shortcuts below each replay recording. Plus you get access to my Shortcuts 101 videos ad-free. You can search my shortcuts database and even filter by device. Priority shortcuts requests, where I answer every single request and try to build as many as I can. I've trained a specific shortcuts GPT, so you can use it with APIs, helping with match text regex commands and more. And I share new shortcuts every week before they ever get to the live streams or even these YouTube videos, and some that I never share elsewhere. So again, you can join at shortcut.bot. That link is in the video description, and thanks to everyone in the community. Oh, by the way, those summarized YouTube video shortcuts, I'm also going to share versions that work with Bear Notes. That's my note-taking app of choice, and they work right there. So you'll see all those links down below as well. Next, someone from the community asked for a shortcut where it will create a reminder where it will add an alert just from an hour from the current date. And this is something I do in a lot of shortcuts, especially for setting a focus mode for a certain time or adding a reminder with a specific time. I use the format date action. And so you can search for format date, and that action lets you add 1 hour, a certain number of minutes, or even days, months, and years to the next action. And this will create a reminder, and it will use Apple Intelligence to title that reminder and set an alert for 1 hour from now. I also have it open that reminders list so you make sure it was created correctly. Let's say you want a reminder to listen to my tech podcast, Primary Technology, that link's below as well. I'll run the shortcut from the control center. You see it gets dismissed, that screenshot's taken but not saved to the photo library. Then it's going to create a title for this reminder and add the screenshot to the reminder as well. And there's the new reminder, listen to Is Apple's Exodus Over episode, and there you see the screenshot is there, and there's an alert for exactly 1 hour from now. Next, I created a shortcut that lets you look at photos taken on this date for the last 10 years. Then you can quickly choose whether to delete or keep those photos. So when I run this shortcut, this is showing me photos from exactly 1 year ago. Then if I wanted to delete a photo, I could just tap the image here, tap the blue check, and then it'll say, do you want to delete? And yes. Then it's going to go back 2 years. You can see my camera roll typically has a bunch of screenshots, and so maybe I'll tap a few, tap the blue check, and it will delete those photos. Then it's going to go back 3 years, so on and so forth, all the way back for the last 10 years. Nice way to kind of look down memory lane, also clean up your photo library, and it's only showing you photos from today's date taken over the past 10 years. So it's not an overwhelming amount of photos to have to go through. Next, this video is coming out during the holiday season, and you might want to create a personal wish list, things to share to your friends and family of whatever you might want. Well, this one I have run from the share sheet. So let's say you're in Safari, you see something you want, like the Shortcuts hoodie from my merch store. We'll just run this from the share sheet, and this will work on any website in Safari. I'll tap the More button here, go down to my personal wish list shortcut. It's going to get an image from the page, a URL, and a little summary, and then append it to a single note. It'll create that note if it doesn't exist, or append it if it already does. And in a few moments, you'll see it created this personal wish list note, has a little shortcut that it's pulling from the actual web page content, a link back to that page, and even an image so you remember what exactly it was. Next, I've shared a lot of ways to quickly frame a screenshot, but I want to create a shortcut that goes directly to sharing the actual image. So you can run this from the control center again. I've been doing a lot of shortcuts from there because you can easily hide the control center. It uses the app Share Shot with a specific design. You can tweak all these settings if you prefer it to look different. Shows you the screenshot in quick look and then immediately shares it. So if we were back here on my merch store, I'll run the shortcut from the share sheet. It's my frame, screenshot, and share. Takes a screenshot, frames it, I see it in quick look here, and then it automatically goes to the share sheet next, so I can text it, email it, save it to files, and more. And the nice thing is, running it through that shortcut, it's not going to save the screenshot to your photos. So if I go to my photos here, you'll see that screenshot is not saved. All right, I've had a lot of requests for budgeting type shortcuts. So I've created a few. These are requests from my community. One is called log purchases to note. This shortcut is going to create a new note for every month. It'll check if that note already exists. If not, it'll create it. It asks, what is this purchase? We could just say something like lunch. It asks, what's the amount? We'll say $15. Then you can put several accounts, maybe it's credit cards, checking accounts, debits. You can specify that in this text block down here. You choose the account, and then it logged that purchase to the Apple Note. Go over to the Notes app. You'll see every note is called purchase log with the month and year. Then it's going to keep a running tally of those purchases. Let's run it again. We'll add dinner. This is going to be $25. This is from account 2. And then it added that to the note as well. You'll see it just appended it to that same note. Didn't create a duplicate, only creates a new note per month. So that's a way to log your purchases every day. And then this shortcut will tell you the total of all that you've spent today. When you run it, it will pull the information from that note, use Apple Intelligence, and this person wanted to send it in a text message, which you can have it auto-texted to you. And you see it sent, you spent $40 today. I also have another shortcut here which tell you all your purchases year to date for the current year. And last budgeting shortcut, this one's called money owed. Someone from the community asked for a shortcut where they could log whether they owe someone, someone owes them, or someone paid someone some amount. So say log I owe someone. Well, who do you owe? I'll say that I owe Nate B. How much do you owe them? $25, and it's going to log that to a note. Now you'll see if I go over to notes, I can go to my money owed note, and it's going to keep a running list of transactions, both the transaction date, who I owe or who owes me, and the amount. So if I run this again, I could say log someone owes me. Who owes me? Mark S. He owes me $35. And let's do one more. We'll say Helly R, and I owe her $14. Well, now I can run the same shortcut and choose current report. That's going to pull all the information from that single note. Apple Intelligence is going to do all the calculations, and it's going to tell you the people who owe you, the people that I owe, and the totals. Also says no one has a zero balance. But if I run this again and say, well, mark amount paid. Let's say I paid her the whole $14 I owed her, and now if I run that current report option, it'll still tell me I owe Nate $25, Mark S owes me $35, but it canceled out my debt to Helly R because I just paid $14. Tells me if there's any balances of zero, the final balance is here, and it will keep a running tally of who owes who money. All right, next, I know we're in the middle of the school year, and someone asked for a shortcut that summarizes any material. And so this shortcut actually decides what kind of file you're sending it. If it's a video or audio file, like maybe a lecture voice memo, it's actually going to transcribe that media first and then summarize it. If it's a Word document, PDF, or other kind of document like a keynote, it's just going to get the text from that document, then summarize it, and it's going to create an Apple Note with that summary. So you can run this from the share sheet, or you can run it directly from the shortcut and then choose a file after that. I'll choose a Word document here, which I know is a transcript from one of my recent videos. It's going to get the text from that input, send it to ChatGPT. This is the Apple Intelligence Use Model action. And you'll see it's going to create that note, automatically titled it. I get a summary and key points and takeaways from that document. And this will also work for video and audio files. So I'll run this again. I'll choose this audio file, which is actually an episode of Primary Tech Daily. That's a benefit for those who support the Primary Tech podcast. And then you see it'll create an Apple Note, summary, takeaways, titled it properly. And if you want, you can have all these notes get saved to a folder. Just scroll to the bottom, and in the Create Notes action, choose what folder you want to save these notes to here. Or you could even create a step where Apple Intelligence identifies the subject, and you can have a folder per subject. But remember, you can also run this on something like a Keynote or PowerPoint from the share sheet. So here I'm in my Files app. I just ran this on a Keynote. I'll choose my school material summary, and it will pull the text from that Keynote or PowerPoint file and still create an Apple Note based on the text, summary, key points, and now you can summarize anything you get for your school materials. Next, I've had lots of variations on this rename on file content shortcut, but I wanted to create one that was more universal. This one you can just run directly from the shortcut and then choose however many files you'd like to rename. And if it's an image, it'll rename it based on the content of that image. So I'm going to take this file right here, which now the name is gibberish. If I send that through the shortcut, it's going to look at the contents of that file, come up with the name, and then you can see it renamed it right here. Let's also see what it does for an image. You'll see this image right here, the name is just gibberish, but if I run this through the shortcut, and let's see what it renamed it, podcast live stream recording setup, that looks pretty good. And when you run it, you can also select multiple files, even selecting all of them in a single folder. So you can select all, have it rename all those files. So when it comes to renaming files, I think this shortcut is going to be the one to help you long term. Next, someone during one of my shortcuts live streams in the community wanted to be able to add subtasks to a reminder. And when you run this shortcut, you can choose the reminder where you want to add the subtasks. It'll ask what subtasks to add. So if I run it, I'll choose the listen to the podcast that I mentioned before, add a subtask on each line. I'll put some subtasks that I want, hit done. Now it's going to go over to that reminders list, and those subtasks are now added to the reminder I chose. Quick way to add subtasks. Also, someone asked, how can they remove undone reminders to today? So what this shortcut does is find all your reminders where it's not completed and the due date is before today's current date. And then for all of those reminders, it's going to move it and change the due date to today. So if you want to just sweep all your undone reminders, move it to today's due date, you can use that shortcut for that. All right, last few real quick. I've done lots of auto send text message automations, and so I have a couple of shortcuts here I'll put down in the description. But these will automatically reply to text based on time and/or focus mode and/or other things. So with this shortcut, anytime between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. of your local time, you'll auto-respond to text messages with this message. In a meeting right now, I'll get back to you soon. Now, you do have to set this up in an automation. So you would download this shortcut, which is my auto send text between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. You would go to the automations tab in shortcuts, create a new automation with the plus icon, go to message. For message contains, you have to put something, but just put a single space. You want this to run immediately. Tap next, create a new shortcut, and then you're going to look for the run shortcut command. You have to do the create new shortcut because we need to change what the run shortcut input is. So you can't just choose the shortcut from that previous list. Now we'll choose run shortcut, choose my auto send text between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., expand this action, and for input, you need to tap and hold and choose shortcut input, and then one more time, tap shortcut input, and in this bottom list, choose sender. This way it will send the sender's number through the shortcut for that automatic reply. Once you tap the blue check, you're done with that automation. Now, if someone sends you a text message, as long as there's a space in it, which most text messages should have, you see that shortcut is automatically running on my phone, and it automatically responded right here. So you can set up that auto text responder using that shortcut and an automation. And remember, if you want to delete an automation, just swipe over and tap delete. But I have another version of this shortcut that looks for a little more data. So what this first does is see if the sender is in your contacts. It also gets your current focus mode and whether the time is between 9 and 5. So this shortcut will only auto-respond with a text if it's between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., if the person is not in your contacts, and if you're running a certain focus mode. This right here is set to any focus mode. So let's say you're in a meeting, you have a focus mode enabled like Do Not Disturb, and someone texts you that's not in your contacts, then they'll get this text message. Now you can change this. So let's say you only want it to auto send to people who are in your contacts. Instead of does not have any value, change this step to has any value, and now it's only going to auto reply to people in your contacts. If you want to change the time to be earlier or later, change 9 to 7, and it'll go from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or if you only want it during a certain focus mode, instead of has any value, tap current focus and choose name, and then you can say name is work, do not disturb, and you can specify a specific focus mode to send that text. So you can add lots of different conditionals here for that auto text to send or not send, depending on what you want. All right, last few. Someone wanted shortcuts that added a sports team events to your calendar. Well, Apple Sports actually has a shortcuts action that can be useful for this. You can get upcoming events for a specific team. Now, if you know the teams, it would be a little more helpful because once you run it, you'll see the list is very long. And then for every upcoming game for that team, it's going to create a calendar event. Now, you can expand this calendar event option and toggle off Show Compose Sheet, and then it will just add it automatically. But when I run this, you'll see it's going to show every team available across any and all leagues. So you're going to have to scroll for a while. But once you find your team, let's say Orlando Magic, it's going to go through every upcoming game and then ask to add it to your calendar. The event is titled The Magic vs. Knicks. In the notes section, it has all the data there as well, but as you can see, you have the date and time of that game. You can also choose what calendar event here. And this is going to repeat with every game that's on the schedule. Remember, you can choose the calendar manually here, then you don't have to decide every time, and you can turn off Compose Sheet and it'll just add all those events automatically. Our last two shortcuts have to do with Gemini. I've had more requests for how to interact with Gemini in shortcuts, And Peter on Threads actually sent me this shortcut that he made that lets you talk to Gemini. You do need an API key, and you need it from the Google AI Studio. I'll put a link to that in the video description. But it'll ask what's on your mind. Give me a 1-paragraph synopsis of the fall of the Byzantine Empire. And it's going to send that request to Gemini,
starting with military losses to the Seljuk Turks and Crusader.
And then it's going to speak the answer to you. Now, inside the shortcut, you'll want to put your API key here in the first text block. And then if you want to be able to talk to Gemini rather than it asking for input, change this ask for input action to a dictate text action, and then you can have a conversation back and forth with Gemini. And lastly, I created this Gemini Request shortcut. This is a very simple shortcut that then you can use in other shortcuts. So you do need to put your API key here. This uses the latest model of Gemini Pro, and it's going to show you the result of that Gemini request. If you X out this last action, you can then use this shortcut as a run shortcut in other shortcuts to call Gemini whenever you'd like. So again, it's just an open text field. You can ask, what's the average rainfall in the Amazon basin? And there you get an answer from Gemini. Again, you could remove this show content action, and it will output that to a next step in whatever shortcut you're trying to build. All right, that was 25 new shortcuts. I still have one more shortcuts video coming this year. It's going to be my top 10 shortcuts of 2025. I've kept track of how many times different shortcuts have been downloaded, and I'm going to share with you my most popular of this year. So get subscribed, hit that like button. If you have any shortcuts requests, leave them down in the comments. I try to get to as many of them as possible. Would love if you join my shortcut community at shortcut.bot. I have shortcuts merch. All of those links are down in the description. And I'll put my last shortcuts video right up here. And another recent video I did is everywhere you can run a shortcuts. There's 25 plus different ways to run shortcuts, from your lock screen, the Mac menu bar, even using things like voice requests, not using the voice assistant, or automating shortcuts to run when you hear a knock at the door, a baby crying, and a ton more. If you want to learn every way to run a shortcut, check out this video right up here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.